Tom Weaver had lived his whole life in the farmlands of Nebraska, where the land stretched endlessly under an open sky. He was a man of simple routines, tending his crops, flying his crop duster, and enjoying quiet evenings on his porch with his wife, Sarah. But one stormy night would change everything. A storm and a stranger. The storm rolled in fast, thick, dark clouds swallowed the horizon, and winds howled through the fields. Rain fell in torrents, turning the dirt roads into muddy traps. Tom sat on his porch, sipping his evening coffee, listening to the distant rumble of thunder. Then, in the distance, he saw it, a pair of blinking hazard lights near the old dirt road that cut through his property. Someone was out there, stuck in the storm. Without hesitation, Tom grabbed his raincoat, jumped into his old pickup truck, and drove toward the stranded vehicle. When he reached it, he found a young woman inside, gripping the steering wheel tightly. Her car had skidded off the road and was now lodged in the ditch, wheels spinning uselessly in the mud. Tom tapped on the window. "Ma'am, you all right?" The woman rolled it down just enough to speak. I think so. My car's stuck. No cell service either." Tom nodded. "Storm's bad. You won't get out of here tonight." "Come on, my place is just up the road." The woman hesitated but, seeing no better option, nodded. "Okay. Thank you. I'm Emily." "Tom Weaver," he said, tipping his hat. Back at his farmhouse, Tom introduced Emily to Sarah, who quickly made her feel at home. As Sarah prepared a hot meal, Emily explained that she was a journalist on her way to Denver for an assignment. She had taken a back road to avoid highway traffic but hadn't expected the storm. That night, as the wind howled outside, Emily found herself drawn into conversation with Tom. He wasn't just a farmer, he was a pilot, too. He had inherited an old crop duster from his father and still used it to spray his fields. "You ever flown in a small plane?" Tom asked. Emily shook her head. "No, just commercial flights." "Well," Tom said with a grin, "maybe tomorrow, I'll show you the sky from my world." A morning flight. By morning, the storm had passed, leaving the air crisp and fresh. Emily was eager to get back on the road, but Tom had other ideas. "Before you go, how about a quick flight?" She hesitated. "I don't know. I've never been in a plane that small." Tom chuckled. "It's a whole different experience. Trust me." Minutes later, Emily found herself seated in the passenger seat of Tom's bright yellow crop duster. The engine roared to life, and before she could second-guess her decision, they were airborne. From above, the Nebraska farmlands stretched endlessly in every direction, golden fields shimmering in the sunlight. Emily's fear melted into exhilaration as Tom guided the plane smoothly through the sky. "This is amazing," she shouted over the roar of the engine. Tom laughed. "Told you." But their peaceful flight was about to take a drastic turn. An unwelcome escort. As they flew westward, Tom noticed something strange, a dark speck in the sky, moving fast. "What's that?" Emily asked, squinting. Tom's expression turned serious. "Not sure. But it's coming our way." A moment later, a voice crackled over the radio. "Unidentified aircraft, this is the United States Air Force. You are in restricted airspace. Respond immediately." Emily's eyes widened. Did they just say Air Force? Tom's stomach dropped. "Yeah. And that means we've got company." Seconds later, an F-16 fighter jet appeared alongside them, sleek and menacing. The pilot inside was clearly visible through the cockpit glass. Tom quickly grabbed the radio. This is just a crop duster out of Fremont, Nebraska." "What's going on?" The Air Force pilot's voice remained calm but firm. "You have entered a classified airspace zone. You need to land immediately at the designated airstrip ahead." Tom frowned. "Restricted airspace?" That's news to me. I've flown this route for years. The fighter jet edged closer, a clear warning. Emily clutched the side of the cockpit. Tom. I think we should listen to them. Realizing he had no choice, Tom followed the jet's lead and landed at a small military airstrip a few miles away. Interrogation at the base. As soon as they stepped out of the crop duster, military personnel surrounded them. An officer approached, his expression unreadable. Mr. Weaver, Miss Carter, please come with us. Emily shot Tom a look. How do they know my name? Tom shrugged. I have a feeling we're about to find out. Inside the base, they were led into a sterile-looking room where another officer was waiting. He introduced himself as Colonel Matthews. You flew into a classified airspace, he said, folding his arms. We need to know what you saw. Tom was confused. Saw. I was just showing her my farm from the air. Emily, always the journalist, sensed something deeper. What exactly is going on here, Colonel? Matthews hesitated, then sighed. We're conducting high-level test flights. That's all I can tell you. Emily narrowed her eyes. Test flights of what? Matthews gave her a knowing smile. That's classified. After verifying their identities and making sure they weren't spies or threats, the military released them with a strict warning, stay out of the area. The bigger picture. As they drove away from the base, Emily couldn't shake the feeling that something bigger was at play. Tom, she said, I think I just found my next big story. Tom shook his head. I don't know, Emily. Poking around in military business doesn't usually end well. She grinned. That's what makes it worth investigating. Over the next few weeks, Emily dug deeper. She discovered whispers of experimental aircraft, top-secret technology, and a possible government cover-up. Meanwhile, Tom went back to his simple life on the farm. But he couldn't shake the feeling that he had glimpsed something far beyond his world. Neither of them knew that their accidental flight had put them in the middle of something much bigger than they could have imagined. The end. Or just the beginning.